I shared this to a group that I'm part of online. I wanted to share it with you guys here. It's called It's Gonna Pay Off. No doubt some of you can relate to the season I'm now walking through. I feel overwhelmed. Most of the things are good. Live music season is coming back, which is how I currently make my money. My band is gearing up for a West Coast tour. I'm seeing progress in becoming a better producer and songwriter. I'm pitching and finding open doors at sync libraries, and I'm finding ways to carve out time to be present with my wife and 4 boys in the middle of all of this. But some days are extremely hard. Some days I fall asleep at my desk at the end of the night after waking up at 4 a.m. Some days I want to walk off the stage in the middle of a set, pack my shit up, and just go home. Some days I worry if there will be enough money at the end of the month. Some days I feel like I'll never be able to properly mix a song or have any good ideas again, and I should just give up. Some days I feel like I'm failing as a husband and or a father. And this afternoon, I felt that overwhelming feeling trying to sabotage me again. Then I was reminded of these 2 quotes below. They're Alex Hormozy quotes. One of them says, "Everything worth doing is hard, and the more worth doing it is, the harder it is. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship." And the other one, this one really hit me. It says, "You're going to lose sleep. You'll doubt whether it'll work. You'll stress to make ends meet. You won't finish your to-do list. You'll wonder if you made the right call, and you have no way to know for years. This is what hard feels like, and that's okay." This is what hard feels like, and it's okay. and when you're trying to build great things, don't expect it to be easy. Those 2 things, for some reason, encouraged me, right? So it made me just want to breathe in deep and then figure out the next step. And I hope if you're listening to this day, whatever you're going through, whatever you're trying to build or whatever you're wrestling with personally or interpersonally, whatever that looks like, I hope you know that it's going to pay off in the end if you keep pushing through, if you don't give up. So I hope we keep rolling. Let's keep building great things. This hard work that we're doing externally or internally, whatever it looks like. Most of the time, it's a little bit of both, right? It's going to pay off if we keep pushing through. And so, yeah, that is a piece of where things are with the band. It feels overwhelming sometimes. And most of the time it's exhilarating because there's so many cool things happening. Again, we are working on the West Coast tour and putting that together. We're going to be playing 2 dates at the Washington State Fair, and our agents are hard at work. And we as a band are hard at work trying to figure out how to route a full tour all the way there and back. We're excited to get on the road. We got 8 new songs that we're working on behind the scenes and already started writing the next batch. It's got like 3 just sitting in there now that we're working on. So as soon as those 8 are done, we're ready to start swinging out, hopefully even more. So keep tuned, stay tuned, keep tuned for all of that. And yeah, we got some shows. If you're in the Kansas City area, a lot of people ask me, when are you guys playing here at home? And I haven't had a good answer for you. Still don't have a great answer for you yet, but we're working on some things. Hopefully by the end of the week, hopefully by the next recap, we'll have some more answers for some shows that are coming out. But yeah, so yeah, some days are hard. You probably know what that's like. But if you're doing great things, that just is what hard feels like. So let's go ahead and jump, though. We're going to review episodes. I believe it's 163. Yeah, 163 through 166. Had some great guests this month. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the clips. We're going to listen to them together. They're like 30-second to a minute long clips. And I'll just share what my thoughts and reasons for you, either my reasons for putting it out or my thoughts behind it, how it inspires me, how I've even applied it to my own life. So here we go. This first one is from Aidan Brock. How would you define living a great life?
I think living such that I don't feel like I'm going, I should do this thing out of a sense of missing out on something. Like if I feel I want to do this because it'll be exciting to do this and will add to my life rather than like patching up any holes. And at the same time to also like try and help people to get to that point as well.
I just love this because I don't know, being in a band, spend so much time on social media. We joke, Daniel and I had a meeting this week where we do our content planning, Daniel Cole, our drummer. And I kept laughing because I would say like, hey, we need to do this. And I'd open up TikTok and then I just start scrolling. And then like 10 minutes of silence and me scrolling, I look over at Daniel. I'm like, oh, I was trying to do some work. there's so many distractions. And when you look on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, I know everyone says this, but it's just true, right? It looks like everyone's having the fucking time of their life, and you're sitting in your office or you're sitting somewhere else, not having the time of your life. And you're like, I'm just missing out. Apparently I've done something wrong because all these people are like living their best lives. And like, look at me, I'm just sitting here trying to do some work. And I love Aidan's perspective of just saying, I don't want to be motivated by that. Don't want to be motivated by missing out on what I could be doing. But simply, part of it, I think, is just that self-awareness as well, of knowing, looking inside is like, no, this is what I want. This is the kind of life I want. These are the kind of things I want to do. These are the kind of people I want to hang out with, and just be okay if other people aren't okay with it, or if other people are doing other things and have goals for other things, and just making peace with that. I love that perspective. I'm glad that he shared that. And that was a great episode. Aidan's out in New Zealand. Looking forward to see what kind of music he works in, where it gets placed, as he's working to get into sync licensing as well. So yeah, definitely check that episode. I believe that's 163. All right, let's go for the next one. Here we go. So now we got Adrian, another one from the sync. One, there's hard times. Keep pushing. Two, if you do need to take time to work on your family, to work on you personally for your own mental health, that it's important as well, because then you just fall apart. And I know I've seen it. I bet you've seen it too. People who get what they wanted and everything just falls apart. They didn't take that. They didn't do that work.
That's so deep. I actually wrote that down a little bit ago. Actually, it was talking about pour into yourself before you can pour into others. Mm-hmm. So that, that take care of your family, take care of home, take care of you. Because, if you're pouring from a place, when it comes time to pour into other folks or to pursue that job or that career,
right? If
you're pouring from a place of deficit, it's not going to end well. It never ends well. And so it's good to take time to yourself, take time to recharge, work on a home, work on your own foundations. That way you can be in surplus when you go out.
One reason I chose this clip is because Adrian really lived this out. There's a time he consciously stepped back from his music career to make sure that his family was in a good place. And I think that takes courage, because the rest of the world can look at that and be like, man, what are you doing? We had this momentum going. But I think that's one, just to live out the thing that you're saying you believe in is really cool. And I know that he's done it and done that work. And now he's getting back more and more into the music world, also into the sync licensing world, seeing success there as well. And I like it as well. I shared it because it's always a reminder. I actually texted my wife this week and I was like, sleep is stupid. Why do we have to sleep? I wish I could outsource sleeping. Like, that's how passionate I am about the things I want to do. I wish I didn't have to like take the 4 to 6. And sometimes like this week, I had to just sleep for like 8-9 hours just to catch up. I wish I didn't have to take that time. I wish I didn't have to slow down. I wish all these things, but the reality is that's not reality. Right. And this clip is a good reminder for me, like, hey, if you feel sick and you've been going for like 8, 7, 10, however many days straight around the clock, maybe sleeping is not a bad deal. Maybe taking care of yourself is not a bad deal. Rewind all the way to the beginning of this podcast of seasons where I've felt overwhelmed. Sometimes the answer is pushing through. Sometimes the answer is like, I just need to take a nap for like 30 minutes and then I'll feel better. And sometimes there's a deadline you got to push through and you feel good at the end of that. I look at it in a sense like what lifting weights is to me. Lifting weights is kind of like a sanity piece, but lifting weights works. It only works well if you put both things at the same time. If you're pushing to a certain limit and you're actually tearing your body down, like you're purposely tearing your muscles, purposely breaking your body down. But you balance that with the right nutrition and the right rest so that when your body heals, it comes back stronger. And it's like sometimes you got two different pedals and it depends on what. I think life works that way, where sometimes you got to push. And then sometimes you got to have the courage to say, no, I need to rest so I can heal, so my brain can heal, so relationships can heal, whatever it is, and then you can come back stronger for the next thing. So yeah, great episode. That was episode 164 with Adrian Taylor. And then we got who we got up next. Oh yeah, Jamogi. Here we go. No matter what, change things.
Have you seen the movie Soul?
Think so.
It's a Disney movie.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It speaks directly about that. I'll give a short summary.
Okay.
There's this jazz teacher. You know, he's stuck in teaching right now, but he wants to be this big time jazz artist. However, so he gets the call where he can finally like reach that dream. He dies basically, and his soul is like stuck in a cat, all this other stuff. He finally comes back to life. He gets his soul back into his body, and he's playing at these jazz clubs with this big jazz saxophonist. And at the end of the performance, he's talking to Dorothea, who's the jazz saxophonist. He's like, you know, I've been like waiting for this moment my whole life, and I really thought that things would be like a little bit different. And she gave him this story, which is where, you know, there was this fish that was out in the sea, and he came up to this other fish and he's like, I'm trying to find the ocean. And the other fish was like, the ocean? You're in it right now. And the little fish was like, this is water. I'm trying to find the ocean. You know, like we're already doing what we want to do.
Right.
You got to just live in it. Like every moment that comes up, thank you so much. Just know that if you're an artist, you're currently doing that right now.
Right. I had to laugh. I laughed in the clip, had to laugh again when he's telling a story from Disney. He talks about a guy who dies and comes back as a cat. I was just like, that was so Disney right there. It is wild. This conversation with Jamogi was really awesome, you know, and there's times in there. It's one to reflect on a lot because I think him and I actually have differing philosophies of leading a band where he tries to keep a separation between him and his bandmates. For me, I realize like I want to have a deep connection with my bandmates. I want to be friends with them. And so we talk about that for a while, but it was really interesting because as I reflected on that conversation, you know, we talked about the pitfalls of either side. Like sometimes you're not connected like you like to be. And then sometimes if you're too friendly with people, you don't have the conversations you need to have, maybe the hard conversations. And I loved it because it didn't necessarily change how I approach things per se as a band leader. I still definitely want to be very close to my bandmates. As things expand, it might be harder and harder if we have a bunch of tech crew and all these other people, you know, it's just hard to be close to everybody. But it is my desire to have that camaraderie with my band. But it did help me understand like, oh, maybe there's times you have been holding back harder conversations and it's okay to say those things. And honestly, I think it strengthens your friendship if you're open that way as well. But I loved it because the differing perspectives, I think I learned from that, us wrestling through that, even though we don't have to change how we do things. Often when you are confronted with different perspectives and different approaches, you can still take a piece of that. Like, oh no, that's a really good piece that I can add in it. And then also another thing we talked about in this episode that I keep thinking about as well is this idea of mentoring. And sometimes mentoring can become a trap. So like mentoring, I can attribute a lot of things in my life to great mentors. I'm not knocking it at all. But I noticed there became this point in my life where the cultures I was part of was so focused on mentoring that I became almost debilitated into where I couldn't even make a decision without bouncing it off of like 10 different people's wise, you know, brains. And instead of just looking inside and saying, hey, this is what I want. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. These are the outcomes I want. So we talk about that where he shares his perspective of mentoring himself. But also he does talk about, same as I did, of you know, being grateful to the mentors that we do have. A lot of great things in there. I wish I had a lot of free time that I could, you know, edit a bunch of those clips and just throw them out. I chose this clip though, because it was, for me, it was just a great reminder personally to enjoy the journey. That like, I literally get paid to play music, and I literally get paid to play my own music at times. And I have great friends and great connections throughout the country, throughout actually the world now. In the music, in the music space, in the music industry. This is the thing that like, you know, 15 years ago, I would have dreamed of. And it's not where I want it to be right now. But to actually take a step back and be like, no, I am in the ocean. I am living this dream out. And this is just one iteration upon that dream. And I can relax and enjoy it and not always feel overwhelmed like I talked about in the beginning. All right, one more clip. Here we go. Kotarah.
Living a great life is one I think where you're authentic in who you are and living in a way that you can sleep at night. Like you're comfortable sleeping at night and you're excited for the next day. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Is it essentially like if you're living authentically, it gives you that peace of mind to sleep well
yeah.
at night?
Yeah. And like living within your own morals and stuff like that. Because being a human's hard and everyone makes mistakes and you just have to figure out if you can live with yourself at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, we all, even if we have someone, we're going to bed on our own. So you have to figure out like if you're going to hate what you did that day.
There was something about that clip right at the end, especially where she says, even if you live with someone, it's like, even if you have a partner, even if you have like some of the closest relationships you could imagine in life, at the end of the day, you still have to answer to yourself. And that there, to me, there was a power in that as she spoke those words, a reminder, like you still have to be responsible for you, period. And maybe maybe everyone else around you is okay with the 70% you put in, but you got more. And so therefore you need to go after that gap. You have to go after that gap, even if the people closest to you feel like you're doing great, but you have more to give. And I think we were talking, it wasn't on the podcast itself, but Kotarah and I were talking about she's in Canada and we were talking about the differences of America and Canada right now and shit's weird. And there's so many people I was sharing, they didn't make it on the podcast, but I was sharing how there are politicians now where I'm just like, literally, how do you sleep at night? Like, how do you feel good about these choices you made? Like how do you go home and face the people around you, and how do you lay your head down at night? And recognizing, like, I can't change anyone else's opinions or thoughts or choices, but it's like I can turn that back around on me and just say, okay, what are the actions you need to take? What are the actions you need to not take? So that when you put your head down at night, when you wake up in the morning, you're still excited to be you. You're still excited to live the life that you're living. You're still excited to walk into the day that you're creating. I think she was coming more from that it sounded like more from that moral aspect, ethical aspect. And I think that's huge. And even where, like, I've seen, there was a producer one time that he knew somebody had shorted him a bunch of money. And he just on his own decided, like, you know what, my peace is worth more than trying to be angry and go after this person. This person knows what they did. They got to live with it. But I am choosing peace, and I'm going to move forward in my life and build something. And I'll never forget that lesson from that producer, of like, some things, sometimes you just have to choose your own peace, choose your own path, and know, like you're not going to sleep well at night if you go after that vendetta, if you go after that vengeance or whatever it is. But I do in here, I heard like that flip side as well. I've seen it where I send out a track and everybody else gives me good feedback, and they're like, this is great, it's ready. But then I realize I'm not happy with it yet, because I know there's just a bit more I can put into it. There's a bit more I can tweak and change. And so even though everyone else may be okay with it, I'm not, because I want to push further, push harder into it. And that's another perspective I like of what she brought out in that. And it was great to hear. It's a great podcast as well. She's in the sync world, sync licensing world. And I loved her strategy where she's partnering with a bunch of producers and going in and singing top lines for a lot of different people, using her vocal power and her lyrical power, and partnering, collaborating with other people who are already in sync libraries. And I was like, man, that's a great strategy. And I recently personally found a company where I can do the same thing. So I'll be working on the band's music, but then also partnering with all these other producers doing what's called top line. So I'm just writing the vocals and the lyrics, melodies and the lyrics, and recording the vocals and sending it off. And just another avenue to get music out there, get original music out there, and make a living doing that. And yeah, so we going into May, we got a bunch of great people on the books right now, from the sync licensing world, from the touring original music world, and we even got some event planners from the like corporate wedding world as well. learning. Basically, it's like all these worlds that Run With It lives in just merging together. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you follow. Make sure you like. If you want to see these clips and you don't know where to find them, go to @RunWithItBand. That's @RunWithItBand. And we'll talk to you next time.